Hey y'all, it's Kimberly from the Path Illuminated. I am here to do a collective reading. I'm sorry I've been a bit MIA. The energies have been violent. We had that full moon in Leo, which completely kicked me on my ASS. I don't know about y'all. And then I've just had some personal projects that I've been working on that have been taking a lot of the energy reserves that I do have. So yeah, we do have, as I'm recording this, we're still in Aquarius season, quickly approaching Pisces season. You know, like I always say, these messages will find you when they are meant to. But we are approaching the end of February, where we will have, I believe it's a new moon in Pisces. I should know this as a Pisces. And that is the last new moon before the eclipse season that we have incoming. So, you know, it's been a wild year already. It's going to continue to be. So I hope you're taking care of yourselves. I've gotten back on my meditation yoga grind just to ground the energy, because the energies have just been so crazy, triggering. Yeah, but let's see what the universe has for the collective. Thank you, angels, spirits, and guides. What messages do you have for the collective at this time? What is the collective energy? What messages, what insights can you provide? Let's see. Interesting. Let me just get a couple more, because these are some interesting major arcana that just popped out of the deck. We have the Sun, and then right after that we have the Devil. So Leo energy is the Sun. Capricorn energy is the Devil. Interesting energy to start here. Okay, so immediately when I saw the Sun, what I felt energetically was that this is a time of illumination. And it really depends on your perspective, you know. And I'm sort of tiptoeing my way into this because a lot of people get triggered. So I've been saying for so very, very long, right, as the energies continue to be all over the place, and our reality and these timelines are collapsing. Reality as we know it has already shifted energetically, and many spiritually inclined people are very, very aware of this. Have even been asking for this, right? And anyone who's been paying attention even maybe just a little bit to the astrology, right? Things fundamentally shifted when Pluto went into Aquarius in November of 2024. And it's a challenge, right? Because you ask for change, you know things need to change, but then when they start changing, they can be very triggering, because it's like the rug is being pulled out from underneath us. But wherever the Sun illuminates, it's illuminating it so that we can see it, and it's very bright. And kind of what's coming to me as I'm channeling this message is, you know, when you look directly at the Sun, we're told not to look directly at the Sun because it blinds us, right? It's so very, very powerful and visceral. And I'm hearing it's a double-edged sword, right? It's like we need the Sun. We're I don't know if you all have seen this meme or heard this cliche, but you know, you need to get sunshine, air, water, nutrients. You're like a emotionally complicated plant. And at the same time, if you stare too long at the Sun without proper protection, you can damage your eyesight. I'm a huge advocate of wearing sunblock and sunscreen. I usually tell people, if I have a religion, it's sunblock. I use it every single day religiously. I reapply it. It's always in my bag, my purse, my backpack. And we need vitamin D, right? Like we can take supplements. And for those of us who are in the northern hemisphere, it is still wintertime. So depending on, the weather, it's like for me where I am currently, um, it's been rainy and cold. And like yesterday, I didn't even leave my apartment, just like it was so, so bad. So I'm not always able to get what I call like raw vitamin D, but it's the best for us, right? But there's also like this balance. And so what I would say that this message is for people who I think have been on this spiritual path and have been on this path of enlightenment and expansion. And this message is for people who have been with the duality of what's happening, right? That can be with the fact that this is a very complicated time in human history. Uh, Things can be very scary, and I apologize for the noise in the background. I live in a big city. It's literally, we're back. I just like it literally, that street cleaner felt like it was there forever. And as I was waiting, because I'm like in the middle of channeling and I don't want to shut off this channel right now, I was hearing this is part of the lesson, is to be with what's happening, accept what is happening versus resisting what's happening. I can tell you I've had a lot of personal lessons over the last year plus about that. It's like I can be mad, I can be irritated, I can be mad at the sun for shining so bright. Right? I can be mad at what's happening, or I can observe it and appreciate it for what it is, and then use the tools and the wisdom and the knowledge that I have already acquired and the things that I have in order to work with what is happening, right? It's like if the sun is out, then I need to make sure that I'm prepared. Am I dressed appropriately? Am I bringing my sunblock? Am I bringing my water? It's like if we are actually in our center, if we're doing that, like I was telling you, right? Like I've gotten back into like yoga after a very, very disruptive year last year, and being nomadic for over 6 months. Like I finally am in a flow, and like that's helping me center the energy. It's helping me focus. It's helping me observe, not absorb. And there are absolutely people out there that will hate on me for saying that, like, well, how can you say that when there's so much going on and there's so much terrible stuff? I'm not a spiritual bypasser. However, if I'm going to allow myself to be so triggered and stressed out, I cannot ground myself in order to see things and to discern things from a place of centeredness, of calmness, of wisdom, right? Because just getting upset and angry, I honor that. I honor what comes up. We all should. But then what? To stay stuck in that emotional trigger is not beneficial. To be able to find a centered groundedness, right? To be able to let what is happening happen, to accept the sunlight that is exposing and enlightening things and making me sweat a little bit and being like, okay, I got to prepare. I need to make sure that I have everything that I need. There is a duality to the energy that has come up, the things that are currently happening in our reality. And it is equally triggering and disturbing, but it is also equally enlightening, and it can bring us hope if we allow ourselves, right, to be with the hope of the possibility for the future. Because I'm also like, this is going to be a little bit maybe corny, but what came to my mind right then was I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Annie, and there's that song, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun, right? And she's going through a deep, dark time, but she knows that tomorrow's a new day. She knows that the sun will rise again. So there's a part of that energy that is coming through with this particular card, right? Is that like, no, no rain, no rainbow, right? No darkness, no sunshine. Like, both are present. We cannot avoid them. But what we can do is be in acceptance of what's happening and use the tools and resources that we have to navigate this and appreciate it for what it is, because we can't change anything that we don't understand, that we don't see. So there's a brightness that is illuminating a lot happening collectively, individually, and sometimes it's going to blind us. Sometimes, if we're not fully prepared, we're going to get some sunburn, right? And we need to manage that. We need to take care of that. We need to do the things we know we can do, right, to manage and navigate this. And I just heard with the devil, because the devil is in the details, right? And yes, there is a lot of destruction happening. There's a lot of, not to be political, oh my goodness, here she goes. But, capitalism, imperialism is cannibalistic. I don't know if you can understand that from what is happening right now, but, like, at some point it turns on itself, okay? Like, I don't want to say the F word, because I'm probably going to already get flagged for using terms that I should not be using on a spiritual channel. But fascism is imperialism internalized, okay? As someone who's in the United States, but this is happening globally, okay? The devil is in the details. We may not want to see those details. We may be scared of the devil, but we can't look away. The collective shadow is being illuminated by the sun so that we can fully see it for exactly what it is. This is not business as usual, okay? If we are going to shift as a collective of humanity, if we are going to shift the energy of the planet, if we are going to move into a more harmonious, egalitarian timeline, we have to see the reality, right? We have to face our demons individually and collectively, as within, so without, as above, so below. It's happening on an individual level, it's happening on a collective level, right? Okay, so this is very, very scary. We don't want this to be happening, but we have to accept it. We can, again, like I was saying, a lot of people want to accuse those of us like me who say, hey, your self-care is still important, your meditation is still important, your yoga is still important, your nature walks are still important, which, by the way, I have to say, you can meditate for free, you can do yoga for free, you can walk for free. Okay, I'm a very practical spiritual person, all right? Like, I'm not selling you nothing. I'm trying to help you, okay? The way that you are going to be able to be with the nature of reality as it actually is to have a grounded spiritual practice so that you can handle what is happening, because it's very difficult. Okay, and if you have a grounded spiritual practice, it should not be a means to avoid reality or to spiritually bypass what's happening. And I don't buy into this, oh, well, if you just don't focus on it, it's not happening. No, that's spiritual bypassing. Your spiritual practice should be giving you the capacity and the ability to be with all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all of it. All of it is happening. We have to be with it. Eight of Coins. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of work to do in the 3D reality, okay? We're not just going to be so spiritually minded that we're of no earthly good. There's work to be done. There's community to be built. There's money to be saved. There are expenses to be cutting. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's happening right now, okay? But we are in a recession. Sorry to burst your bubble. There have been massive layoffs. I don't know if you're paying attention. There's work to be done. The way that things have been going is not the way that they're going to continue to go. It's not going to continue to be up and to the right, which is going to require each of us individually and collectively to juggle multiple things, to reframe our perspective, to work on our perspective of reality, to redefine what we see as true abundance, right? To understand that, like for me, last year I went through a huge shedding in my life. I let go of, an apartment. I sold 85% of my things. I have been fundamentally reshaping the way that I live my life, trying to live more simply, trying to live more frugally. When I do buy things, I'm trying to buy them secondhand, or I'm buying for friends, or I'm trying to talk to people about bartering, right? Like, I have a friend, she is an astrologist and I'm a tarot reader. So occasionally, right, we will barter our services, right? And getting out of this old idea of what the economy is. There's some projects that I'm working on the back end that eventually I will talk about with regard to how we actually come into community and take care of each other when it comes to finances and resources, right? There is a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of plates to be juggled, right? And maybe there's a fear of that, but again, it depends on our perspective. Page of Wands, this is a time for us to learn new skills. This is a time for us to have an opportunity to learn skills to build this new reality, to build this new economy, to like, that you can learn new. I've been learning about, as an example, I've been learning about blockchain. Yes, indeed, I have. I've been learning about things in the blockchain realm. I've been expanding my skills. I've been meeting new people. I've been having new conversations, right? And I've been following that. Like, it's okay. Like, it might be triggering for my ego, learning something new, doing something new, stepping out of my comfort zone. But the reality is that things are not the way that they were. That timeline is collapsing, right? We all need to be prepared to move out of our comfort zone, to become a student of life, because if we can accept what is happening, we can be open to finding the fire within to learn the lessons that the universe is trying to teach us if we will stop resisting. Now, Ace of Swords is in reverse, so there may be absolutely a lack of clarity, some confusion. I know that Venus is going to be going retrograde at the beginning of March, and I think somewhere there, I think at the end of February, the Mercury retrograde shadow phase begins. So that's about 2 weeks before it goes into retrograde. So prepare yourself for uncertainty, prepare yourself for muddied waters, prepare yourself for overthinking, right? And remind yourself that you are not your thoughts and you are not your feelings. You are, in fact, the witness of those things, and they are data points, and you need to do something with that energy. Yoga, meditation, walking, journaling. Journaling is also free. You might have to buy a journal, but you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, be prepared, right? Like, accept what's happening instead of getting irritated, instead of letting your anger and your frustration and your triggers to put you into fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode, right? Accept what is happening and ask the universe, ask your guides, ask your ancestors to help you learn the lesson that you need to learn, and accept that you may not know. Who actually knows? Who actually knows, bro? Like, who knows? The game has fundamentally changed. I keep saying that. The way things were is not the way things are, and they will never be that way again. And you can either fret about it and give yourself space, right? Okay? If you're triggered, always hold space for that. But at some point, you have to decide if you're going to accept it so that you can work with it. Because resisting is going to create for you as an individual and people in your life more distress and more blockages, okay? We have to move to a place of acceptance. Let me just pull a couple more cards. Now I have that song in my head, the sun will come out tomorrow. A lot of cards, yo. I'm gonna take these all. That's a little too many, Spirit. Just like one more card. Whoa. Okay. So over the sun, we have the Knight of Wands. You need to trust that when it is time for you to take action towards whatever that is, individually, collectively. Now I'm getting, because the last card at the end of this first part of the spread was the Ace of Swords in reverse. Lack of clarity, confusion, overthinking. But trust, I say this so often to myself, to my clients, okay? If you don't know what to do right now, trust that. Do what you can. Don't force it. eventually the action that you need to take will become very, very clear. Now, this may start to happen after the Mercury retrograde period, which I think likely goes into April, okay? Which also makes sense. Aries season in the Northern Hemisphere, it is spring, but Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So I feel like right now is a time to be paying attention, a time to be learning, a time to be allowing illumination of the demons internally, collectively, understanding the work we need to do, getting into a learner's mindset, accepting that there are some things that are going to be unknown, right? And learning to be comfortable with discomfort. There is going to be an end to mental confusion, okay? There's going to be an end to the restlessness in our minds, and it's over the devil. So again, I'm feeling this so strongly. Once you are willing to accept the truth, all of that inner turmoil, overthinking, and mental distress will finally let you go. There's Gloria Steinem says this: the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Once you can move into acceptance, all of that mental anguish is eventually going to dissipate, right? And it's no longer going to keep you locked in fear of the unknown, fear of the demons hiding under the bed. Now we do have, what is this? 10 of Wands reversed over the 8 of Coins. I just heard the work is never done, okay? And then there's this cliche or quote or whatever you want to call it: don't wish for life to be easier, wish for yourself to be stronger, okay? Ask the universe, your ancestors, God, guides, the universe, whatever you want to call it, for more strength instead of asking for the hard times to end. I don't know that there's ever going to be a time that things are not challenging. This is Earth School, okay? This is a reality of duality. For every good thing, there is the polar opposite, right? Okay, there's always going to be a mountain to climb. There's always going to be a demon to slay. There's always going to be some type of obstacle, right? But if you know that you can carry the weight, then you don't need to be worried about, and again, I'm getting the spiritual practices. If you're relying on your spiritual practices, you don't have to worry so much about losing the bandwidth to deal with what comes if you know in your heart and your mind and your soul that you're strong enough to actually manage this. Page of Wands, and then we have the 3 of Cups over it. If you can learn to be a student, there is definitely going to be something on the other side of this, right? That we get to celebrate as a collective, okay? That's what the 3 of Cups is. And I'm also hearing this is about community, right? For many of us, I feel like learning, like becoming a student, is learning how to be human again, learning how to be in community with like-minded individuals again, learning how to celebrate things, be in gratitude for things, even in the midst of chaos, right? Because again, this is the world, this is life that we live in, okay? Like there's always going to be something. This world is never going to be utopia. Now, do I believe we can push towards a more equal, harmonious, egalitarian reality? Yes. I just don't know if it's ever going to be perfect. I don't think that exists in this reality as long as there are human beings involved, okay? But becoming a student of life and learning to find those moments of sweetness and celebration with like-minded souls is definitely going to help you through this process, because there will be challenges, but you can decide how you're going to frame it, right? You can be upset with the confusion, the chaos, the muddied waters, the lack of clarity, or you can just be like, you know what, F it. This is what's going on. What can I do about it? What can I focus on right here with this, 6 of Cups, right? Like, what can I focus on? What is the sweetness here that I can focus on, right? Tapping also, like 6 of Cups oftentimes can talk to inner child work, right? That no matter what's, and again, I'm getting that Annie, right? Like, if you don't know the story, she was an orphan and she came from a very, very difficult, challenging, traumatic background. And no matter what, she kept her faith. She kept her hope that the sun would come out tomorrow, despite the fact that things were looking pretty bleak for her. So like, we get to decide the meaning and what's happening in our reality. And again, that doesn't mean to spiritually bypass what is going on. It just means that there's more than meets the eye, and it all depends on our perspective, right? And that life is trying to teach us individually and collectively how to be with what's happening, and learning how to be this student again of life, right? Learning how to walk this path anew, understanding and accepting that the old is gone. This timeline is collapsing behind us, and we need to learn a new way to be in community, a new way to celebrate despite the mental challenges and conflict, that like we can still find joy in the midst, right? And learning how to do that is part of this lesson plan that the universe has for us right now. So yeah, I think that's the message, y'all. And I feel like there's nothing I need to add to that. It just feels like that channeled through so beautifully for me. I hope it resonates for you. If it does, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me some comments below. How are you dealing with the energies right now? Also, I recently recorded a podcast episode. The show is called Another Way to See It. My episode is called Working for the Universe, and it will be dropping on February 18th. So I will post it when it is live. I'll try to like line up a collective reading or something like that so I can post it. I'll share it to the community notes. But if you want to follow Another Way to See It, you can find their podcast everywhere. I'm looking forward to sharing the interview that I was a part of. I think a lot of really great insights came through that, and it's another way to get to know me a little bit more. So yeah, thanks again for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.